welcome to the Space Academy. Today I tell you everything what you need to know to survive in this game, Space Kraken. And this is the first episode, and I make the series in German and in English. So if you like to watch it in German, you can switch in my YouTube channel and see the German version. It's close to the same, just another language. I hope I can do this as well because I'm native German, but I try my best. And I'm not going to cut it. It's just like life. So if I make mistakes, I hope you forgive me. Okay, everything you need to play is this book here. And what you have at home, I guess, are just some dice, 6-sided dice and 20-sided dice. And maybe some stickers here to mark the pages. In the final product, this is the prototype. The prototype is in English. The final product will be in English and German, and if we reach enough stretch goals in other languages as well. And the final prototype comes maybe with already printed markers here, or maybe you get some custom print or some kind of these markers as additional stretch goal or something like that. It just helps to find the pages quick. You need a rubber and a pencil. That's all you need to play. Okay. The book is made like a terminal. It begins with the introduction, telling you how to play. Later in the next video I start a new game step by step and show you everything how it works. It's the intro, and now I just go through the book and tell you in which different modes you play and what happens. First, you play this game. You can play this game as solitaire alone. That's a very perfect standalone game, solitaire game for one people alone. And you can also play with 2, 3 or 4 players. You set up a crew and you want to survive in space. And the book have multiple fold-out page like this one. And here you have your spaceship, your equipment. The spaceship has some systems like weapons, shields, but also a med bay, a teleporter and other systems like that. And you have your crew. At the demo version you have 8 different crew members you can choose out. For example, I take her, and from the second page, let's say I want to have him. Okay, I can have up to 4. At the moment I have 1, 2, 3, and I have these sheets open. So later on, if I, for example, take a look in the rules here, I can read the rules and have my ship and my crew, everything, every time outside, like some terminal way. Okay, the book, little bit like a role-playing game, tells you a story. This is the CGM line tracker, Cryptid Game Master is what I call it. It's the following thing: you have 4 different lines, story lines, going step by step through a story. The story is crypted in some tabular sheets, so you cannot see what's happening next. And there are happen many things, like you opening a branch, for example, make a decision going this way or going that way, or they even influence each other. Sometimes some variable gets saved. For example, if you make some attention to the space kraken, which want to kill you after you left Earth, then maybe some variable gets changed, and later on another storyline react to that. So it's a little bit like a scripted computer game, but all packed inside this codes and this book. Simple to handle, and it's a surprise because you don't know what happens, and it tells you the story. And at the beginning you choose 4 different storylines. You have some main story, some side story, some horror story, and some most times a trailer. But in every line of these stories they can influence each other, and they can it's not a strict definition. For example, in the trading line there can also be a trap, like the space kraken want to catch you, or in the horror line also something funny can happen. The lines just combines, and you can choose out of multiple lines, and in the final product even more. You have much different lines, and you can set up your games every time different, and you have every time a different story. And at the first turn you start with the first point of each line, and this sometimes trigger nothing and just going forward. Sometimes it triggers some event. These events are explained here. For example, you enter the KRAKEN star system, and then you have to decide if you just go very slow and waste some time, but maybe stay more safe, or you just full speed and try to attack the KRAKEN and something like that. And this influenced the further path of the story. And you have the crew at the beginning. You set up the crew. You choose a ship. Maybe you are some prisoners try to escape from Earth, or you are some military ship try to kill the KRAKEN. There are different variables you can choose from, and you can also take the crew is defined here. Some standard crew members, eight ones, and you can also redraw them entirely. Just use the picture and give them unique names, unique skills, and everything how you like it. And okay, we have a lot of weapons. The crew comes with some skills, with some attributes, like they have some agility, some strength, some technology level, a little bit like a role-playing game, but working very quick. And you equip weapons and items in different grades, from cheap weapons, like just a pistol or some knife, up to some railgun and some science fiction stuff like that. And then you can, for example, the events can trigger different things, like some ground combat. But even if nothing happened after the event, you can each turn decide to go to some space flight. So you want to discover some new world, to make some experience, getting more money, finding weapons, doing something like that. And then, like most parts of the game, you have some terminal, these sheets here. This is the space combat rules, the combat sheet, and the initiate space flight. You're starting here. Choose where you want to fly. For example, you can do some very easy flight with very low risk, but you find some planet and then you're there. You cannot choose much. You just define the planet randomly. It gets marked here as a star map location, and then you're finished. Or you say, no, I want to find some specific planet because you want to have a specific race you want to fight against, or some special kind of maps, and you can more like defining the location yourself by choosing which planet you want to go. And you can even higher the risk more if you say you're smuggling illegal drugs or something, and this increases the risk that you're coming into some space combat. And if some space combat happens, you make some random dice roll if it happens, and then your ship, defined here, is represented here with this sheet here, and below are the enemies. The enemies can be different ships attacking you, and you fight back, but they can also have you can have some special objectives. For example, sometimes you have to shut off a shield station before you win, or you have to make just enter one ship or one basic base station, and then it's not just fighting against each other. You have to fight, but you have to solve the objective to win the combat. So it's not just some simply fighting, and every time who wins first or who destroys the others first is the winner. So it's more like you have objectives, but sometimes you have to fight just to destroy. It's different each time. And your crew is also involved. Sometimes you send them to attack the enemy ships. They have also a crew on board. Sometimes they try to attack you. You can also use them, for example, to re-roll some attack roll by controlling the weapon systems, or by power, and they can also power up the shields and doing things like that. And if you are successful or have not even triggered a space combat, you can go here to a location generator. This is this sheet here. And this defines the planet, the location you find. It can be a planet, it can be some lost space station. There are multiple different things. Here, for example, space station on the surface of some planet, a dungeon, a mining station, somewhere in space, most times spaceships, or the core planets of the KRAKEN. They're very heavily protected systems. And you have the difficulty, you have the type of the location, you have some atmosphere outside and inside. Sometimes you have a planet where outside is breathable and everything, you have oxygen, everything's fine, but inside the buildings or spaceships living some strange aliens have some different kind of atmosphere. You cannot breathe, or even if very dangerous like hell, like hot or very, very cold. And this makes the ground phase very much more difficult, and you have to take care about this as well. And it's this all the parameters gets defined here and written down here at the star map locations. You have different depthness of level. Sometimes you can go up to 9 maps inside each location. You can teleport sometimes inside, sometimes the teleporter is blocked. You define the kind of map numbers, I'll show you soon. And there can be also some specials, and you define the race you can find there. And the maps, if you then go downstairs, teleport down to the planet surface, you have some retro style tile-based maps. For example, you have some spaceship somewhere here, this is Dungeon Core Planet in space. So you land on some space station, some map, and then you go forward. It's tile-based, but you have big areas, so you can move from one area to another. And there can happen everything. Sometimes you have traders, ammunition traders, enemies, traps, treasures you can find, quest masters, oxygen stations where you can recharge the used oxygen, because if you have no breathable atmosphere, you use your oxygen if you make actions like attacking or moving. And sometimes you have to decide, okay, go back before you run out of it, and then you then if you lose all the oxygen, they lose the I don't know the English word for the constitution or the health points, and then they're dying. Even if you lose the last hero, then you game over. The enemies. If you're moving through the ground, you go to the location, what I name dungeon exploration mode. You can find different kinds of enemies. You have multiple races. For example, these are the space krakens. You have greys, you have insectoids, you have a lost. There are very different kind of animals and enemies, and every enemy have some strengths and weaknesses and some different behavior. And you drop them out like that. What you have to fight against, sometimes you have to fight against just one or two or some combination of these. And like in the space combat as well, you have just this shit here. Now you're like in the ground combat terminal modus. So you have the rules here, how to handle the entire ground combat. So you not have to take a look inside the rules. You can open the rules here without having some trouble, because this can stay open. But normally, if you read it once, you don't need it again. You just handle the combat like this with the chat rolling for who attacking first. For example, if the enemies are very quick, you maybe can only handle as the second party, but you can say, no, I have only one crew member which is very slow, so I say, no, I leave him just behind, he just go in cover, and so we not have to wait for him and we are faster. And so our chance to fight strikes first is much bigger. And the same if you escape. The agility value is very important. If the enemies are very quick and we are very slow, it's very difficult to try to escape. But you can say, oh, okay, no, we are very bad. We leave one crew member behind, so the enemies have somebody to eat, attack, whatever, and we run away. Then the chance is very much bigger than at least the escaping crew members will survive. And so you handle the ground combat. You get some, if you win or escape, you maybe get some new treasures. You can buy some new weapons or items. And let's see what we have more. This was the location generator, the enemies. We have skills, hero skills and enemy skills. The heroes can have already at the start, if you choose it like that, some positive and some negative skills. Like for example, there can be a crew player, so it means he need a crew of 4 people together and get some bonus. But if you only have to fight alone or one pass out, then he try very hard or have some negative bonus. And the same for the enemies. The enemies have different skills here. For example, swarm, that means if he dies, maybe some other enemies come back because they are attacking in groups. They have tentacles. They are theft. They maybe steal you some items because it's some Kraken-like enemy. Some enemies are, for example, have the zombie skill. That means even if they health points go down to 0, they not die. You have to give him some final push with a bigger attack. So if you can hit him 20 times with only 1 damage and don't kill him, you need to make 1, for example, damage 3 push to kill him. And we have all different kinds of special skills and abilities, from science fiction or role playing or other kind of board games. Everything you love you find inside this book. And the enemy have also different kinds to react. If they start their turn, you just roll a die for each enemy. And here, for example, 1 to 4 if a strength attack, so there is a melee attack, and 5 to 6 is recover 2 health points. With full health point, he reroll. So he attack you anyway if he is in full health. Otherwise, he going to regenerate if you roll a 5 or 6 with a die 6, 6-sided dice. Okay. That's our enemy combat. I show everything in detail in the following videos. I just want to give you some quick overview. It's feeling a little bit like a mix of a computer game like XCOM or Planet Edge from a long time ago, where you're just discovering new worlds, solving quests, fighting against aliens, and try to upgrade your crew because you need better weapons and better skills and better attributes to have a chance against the later levels and the enemy is going to attack you later on to fight against the space Kraken. In the middle is the rules section, 20 pages explaining all the rules in detail. We have had the map section. Yeah, and that was everything. And the fine thing about this game is if you can play it just for no matter 20 minutes or so, or for 2 hours. And if you finish, you just close it. You fold your heroes inside again. Close the book, and then you're ready to go. You have the book here. Just put your pen and your dice in some bag or wherever, and you're ready to go. And you can just open it and start playing. You don't have to sort some cards or doing something like that, or preparing game material or need some big box. You can take it everywhere and you can play it everywhere. And yeah, depending on the Kickstarter, there will be maybe some specials like some art book, some special modifications like some epic edition, or some, depending on to how much you support it. Maybe we can, for example, doing some holographic paper here. I printed my own. It's looking quite awesome. I'm not sure exactly how much it will cost and how and when it's going to be worth it. For example, if I print 1,000 or 10,000 pieces, at some moment it's affordable and I can do it like that. Or we just say, okay, we do some special limited or whatever, or early bird edition where I get the holographic cover or something like that. But the main game is like that. I send out prototypes for testing, so if you're lucky and not quite too late and want to test it or to review it in whatever channel, writing text or YouTube or whatever, or podcasting, just contact me, write me, and I send you a prototype as possible. Via airmail, it's quite quick. And even if Kickstarter already running, I guess it's no problem to send your prototype. And yeah, that's Space Kraken generally. And the next video I'm going to start a new game and doing it step by step and explain everything about it. Yeah. Thank you, and thumbs up please.